In our worldview today, at least 20 people are dead in southern Pakistan after an earthquake rattled communities 80 miles east of Quetta. The 5.7 magnitude tremor struck overnight as residents were sleeping, collapsing hundreds of homes and trapping people under a pile of rubble. Roughly 300 people were injured. Prime Minister Imran Khan said nearly 70% of power in the epicenter has now been cut off. He's deployed the military to assist with search and rescue efforts. Moderna is investing $500 million in Africa to build a manufacturing facility for mRNA vaccines on the continent. The announcement follows criticism from the World Health Organization, which says leading drug makers aren't doing enough to supply COVID-19 vaccines to some of the world's poorest countries. Just 4.5% of Africans have been fully vaccinated so far. Meanwhile, over in Europe, Finland has joined Denmark and Sweden in pausing Moderna's COVID vaccine for younger men after reports of side effects. A Nordic study found that men under the age of 30 who received the Moderna jabs were at higher risk of developing a rare cardiovascular condition known as myocarditis. Sweden and Denmark have paused Moderna's vaccine for all young adults and children. And a South Korean woman says she has been flooded with calls from fans of the popular Netflix show Squid Game. Now, if you've watched the show, you'll remember that scene in the very first episode, which shows a mysterious invitation card, along with a phone number that's given to potential players of a deadly game. It turns out that number actually belongs to a 26-year-old office worker in Seoul. She says fans as far away as Colombia have been calling her, asking if she's linked to the show. Netflix now says it's going to be editing that scene, at least the number, to remove it. Squid Game has become an international hit since it debuted last month. It is on track to become the most watched series on Netflix. And Zach, I've only watched the first episode, so I know exactly the scene that they're taking out. I love how this has started a global conversation. It's very rare today, I feel like, to have a show that's not just in the US, not just in Europe. I mean, this is the number one show on Netflix in something like 90 countries right now.
Yeah, it's everybody and their mom talking about it. My mom talking about it, saying don't watch it. It's too heavy. You're gonna, there's a lot going on with that game or the Squid Games here, but it's wild. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a show here where I've heard as many people as right now talking. Game of Thrones maybe came close, but it was more on the dissatisfaction of how that series went. But Squid Games, it's got something cooking here, and that's big for Netflix. They are always talking about something that really gets the people going, more proof that it's the platform to be on.
Yeah, and I think that this points to the strength that Netflix has. I mean, for years, they have been investing in the type of content, as they say, that goes beyond borders. In international, something they like to highlight, partly because we've seen slower growth in North America. But this seems to be right in their wheelhouse that shows the huge reach that Netflix has. And if you've got a Korean language show that is number one in 90 countries, people are willing to watch it through, dubs or subtitles. I mean, that seems like a magic, solution for Netflix. But you haven't watched the show yet, right?
I haven't watched it. I got nothing to add on the actual content side other than, you're talking about the number and all the phone calls there. I'm thinking back to that, was it 8675309 track and the person who sold that phone number too. Could be a good thing. You get all the phone calls, but it could be a positive. You just got to be a little bit more enterprising, entrepreneurial here.